gross, unclean, kind of dirty noir vibe. I mean, this movie, it's successful in its mission, would you say?
Yes, I would. I think it's a very it's a very gritty and raw film from watching it. Yeah.
There's just some of the scenes, this guy's been tortured for a week, and he's left down to just be in his dirty...
He's literally in his soiled underwear and a vomit. That's all that he has.
And I have another question. They didn't want to show damage on his face, but at the end, he looks like...
He looks like he got the shit kicked out of him.
The Elephant Man. You know?
He has like the Elephant Man.
Right? Like the massive lump. And it's kind of funny. There's a scene where he's walking through Los Angeles with a blanket over him, and you could tell it's guerrilla style because all the people walking by are just staring at him.
They're staring at him. They're staring at the camera. You can tell that maybe I would say that they hired 2 extras to play homeless people, and then that's the 2 people that he sits beside.
And those are the 2 people that actually feel like extras. All the other people feel natural.
I watched this movie again this morning, and I saw the street sweeper that's coming down the road when Sean sits down, and I was like, wow, that guy is definitely not an extra. That is a real street sweeper. You could tell. But, it's all part of the fun of making the movie.
So right now there's 9 reviews for it. It's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's liked on the Googles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness. I think this could be an interesting exploration into low-budget filmmaking. Would you say? I mean, there's some weird visions in here that I feel I didn't like the visions of Carrie Warrer where she eats poop.
Yeah, no.
That had no point in the movie. Yeah. And there's some very weird moments in this film.
I think they probably put that scene in there because they wanted to establish moment that this is supposed to be like a horror film, but it's not. I think they wanted to sell it as a horror film because all the promotional pictures that you see of this film are of the woman as an ant.
Oh yeah. And
so I think they wanted to sell that image, and it's like, well, they could have they should have just sold it as a crime drama or a crime thriller, I guess.
This could have been maybe like a Blue Ruin, right? Or or the Linda Fiorentino movies where the dudes always end up in a ton of trouble. Was it The Last Seduction, where she's Jade. The femme fatale Jade? Yeah, when you have these soaked kind of like very noir-esque films. Yeah, I didn't understand the poop eating.
No, I didn't think it was necessary. But then we find out that, I guess, kind of later that Crowley says that about his whole speech about ants. He's like, they're eating, shitting, and having sex with each other just like they've always done. And it's like, maybe they put that in there for that reason. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure that Stuart Gordon just wanted to put that in there because he wanted to gross people out, but I just don't think it was necessary.
It's an interesting parallel, though. I mean, ants. You see an anthill, they're just going about their business, and that guy's just saying they're inconsequential. But then if you look at humans in the larger scale of things, we're the same as ants.
Yeah, we really are doing the same exact things that we've done for millions of years. Not much progression. It's just kind of the same thing over and over again. We're just building, going about our lives, and that's kind of what he was getting at with his little speech. And then I love that when he says, he's like, come on, but you can save me. Probably says, or Bennett Beckett says that. He's like, you could save me. He's like, I don't know why you're talking. You're already dead.
Yeah.
Just walks away. That is a mean ending.
And then he gets an explosion behind him, which that felt a little out of place. Like he's going to become a new murderer, I guess. But you know what I liked about early Sean Crowley, played by Chris McKenna, is he's just this happy-go-lucky kind of fella.
Yeah, he's very much like a realistic early to mid-20s man. He just kind of like the world is his oyster. He's just kind of going about his life. I mean, it's not good. It's not bad. He's just kind of there. Yeah, I think he's very content with where he is in his life. He's painting a house. He clearly doesn't really know how to paint a house, but he's doing it anyways. But, then why not? Like, take on another job? Sure. You want me to just follow somebody around? Why not?
Yeah, I like how he's sort of morally flexible, too. So one night, so he's been following around Livingston around because this guy might be a whistleblower, which will hurt this contractor who has a big contracting business, Daniel Baldwin. And I like how there's a really weird speech, though, that Daniel Baldwin gives about him being a married man who wants to have sex with an 18-year-old, so he kills a dog.
Yeah. And he says that he kills the dog so that it'll shut up. And you're like, okay. Like, I like how Crowley's like face is just kind of like, oh, all right. Like, what are we getting at?
You didn't need this speech, man. Like, what?
Yeah, he didn't need to tell me this.
Some of the words, though, that are said during that made me feel so dirty coming out of Baldwin's mouth. I don't want to say them on this pod, but a couple of them I'm like, oh, brother, why am I watching this? You know, I always like having Baldwin's on screen, but I do like when he gets an offer to kill Ron Livingston. And he initially says 15,000, Baldwin says 5, they get to 13. But I kind of liked, I mean, it's very written. I know every line of dialogue's written, and the scene just feels very novelly, and it was based on a book. But I kind of liked his rules, right? He's like, I just can't get caught is number one. I like that. I mean, that's a good rule. I can't get caught.
Yeah, if you're committing a crime, I think that'd probably be number one rule.
Yeah, I want to get caught. You know, that's just my number. Oh, yeah, cool. My number 2 is be stronger. So he basically in the car breaks down these numbers, but then everyone gets confused about how many numbers he's saying, which is kind of fun.
He's also drunk.
Oh yeah, Baldwin.
So it's just kind of like, all right, and then number 6 is get out of my car. You know?
And you could tell a lot of that was improv because I don't know if you've heard about this before, and we were talking about this on this movie Bliss that I think is going to be on Shudder or Amazon Prime soon. I think you'll like it, Chris Kelly. The only problem is with it is the actors are really allowed to improvise. So in King of the Ants, when you can tell there's a lot of improving because they're just throwing the F-bomb out everywhere.
Yeah.
And listen, in Tarantino, I feel like each F-bomb is written, right? And so I'm totally like Wolf of Wall Street. Those F-bombs are written. Uncut Gems. You feel like those lines are written, and those have some of the most F-bombs in the history of cinema. So I'm not.
Yeah, that's like number 4, I think.
I'm not a prude. I'm not against F-bombs, but when they're used in improv, I'm gonna go down to the taco shack and eat some tacos, and then I'm gonna drink some effing soda, and then I'm gonna walk effing home. It's like that's a very so a lot of people say when they audition for roles, people that do the casting, they say the number one thing people do when they improv is they just drop the F-bomb. And you could tell there was a lot of that in here. And I don't know why it's been grating on me lately, but that was the one part I didn't like about some of the improv in this movie.
No, I've noticed that too. To me, whenever a lot of F words are being thrown around, it makes the person sound not as smart.
Yeah.
So when you hear someone constantly cursing, it's like, I get it, you're angry, or I get it, you're struggling for a word to come up with. But instead of cursing, why don't you just kind of pause? You know, and I think that maybe people are just afraid to pause because they think that someone else is going to jump in. And it's like, well, maybe you just didn't have anything worth saying.
Yeah.
It could be it. And it's like, there's that.
And filler words, you know, people, it's a filler word as well. So you're thinking off the top of your head, you don't want to drop likes, yeah. So you're just like, I'm just going to say, you know, I'm just going to drop F-bombs to take place.
It's just as good.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's super.
They did that on Bad Boys. I don't know if you knew that.
They did what?
There was a lot of improv on Bad Boys.
Oh, really?
That might explain a lot of the F words. Like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence were both given free range to change the dialogue as they wanted.
Yeah.
On the spot.
I mean, I would guarantee it. You're just, and I'm not saying like, listen, if I'm an actor, you and I are actors, Chris. We get cast in an action film called Ice Cream Nuclear Truck 2. Where it's an asylum film where you and I, it's a ripoff of Chill Factor where you and I have to deliver a nuclear bomb that has to be kept cold in an ice cream truck to the CDC in Atlanta. And so if you and I were asked to improv, I bet you and I would just be saying like, you know, F-bomb, 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 F-bomb. Right? Improv.
I could go for it.
If this
do you like chocolate ice cream?
If this nuclear bomb mother effing gets below mother effing degrees. Like, and I'll be like, I did a great job improv in there. I did great. So obviously I'm making fun of people when I would fall to, you know, I would melt like one of those ice cream cones.
Tell me something I don't know, Hoffmeyer.
Yeah. Mother effer. Wait, what?
Do you remember those ice creams called the Phantom? They were blue chocolate on the outside, and then they were strawberry on the middle. Chris, what are you talking about, man? We got a nuclear effing bomb in our effing truck.
We gotta go. We gotta go.
Put down that milkshake and get in the truck.
Go faster, Mark, faster. I can't. Go. Wait, where? I'm surrounded on all sides in traffic in Atlanta.
It's like I'm getting hit by all sides, man.
People trying to buy ice cream? Why'd you turn the music on, Chris Kelly? I'm trying to get away from people, not draw attention.
I feel like I'm trying to go from Decatur to East Atlanta at 5 p.m.
Whoa, there should be a scene where we need fuel money, so we just turn on the sound and start selling ice cream. We gotta pay for gas! Sell some ice cream!
Don't you know it's cheaper to go to Chambly?
We just charge $1 for, we just gotta get rid of 2 for 1, 2 for 1.
Choco Tacos go up by $2 just to try to go to QT.
On the menu, it says it's a $2 Choco Taco. You're charging $5. Yeah. Mother effer, get over it.
Do you want this Choco Taco or do you want to go to hell?
It's 98 degrees. Your choice. Walk away hot or walk away cold. Pay me some money so I can get out of here.
That'd be the best tagline ever. Walk away hot or walk away cold.
All right, back to the movie. So,
back to the movie. Speaking of the tagline, they wanted a fall guy. They created a monster.
Did he become a monster?
He did. He killed everybody. Yeah. I'd say at first that he was very much a nice guy, very well to do, and then slowly and steadily became a monster. He came back and killed everybody. I mean, I guess you think about, was he always a monster or was he created by one? Did he do it just for the money? Because Sean seems to be a nice guy and he kind of takes this on as a job. He doesn't really think about the consequences, such as by killing Livingston what would it have done? You know what I mean? He just kind of takes it on as like, oh, well, I need you to wash my car. Okay, no problem. And then he realizes the repercussions of all that and everybody that is affected by the death, causing him to go insane.
I mean, okay, so he's in the car with Daniel Baldwin. They're both sweaty. They're sitting in the car. And when one of his rules, his final rule is, I need a reason. So I was expecting Daniel Baldwin to say that Ron Livingston is a horrible human being who beats people and is planning to murder a bunch of kittens. Instead, he's like, I need a reason. I need money. So he knows he's going to kill a guy and he wants money for it. I like the way he plays the character as a very happy-go-lucky chap, but he accepts $15,000 to murder somebody. So I would say he's not, I mean, what would he do for $6,000? Like, what would he do for $50,000? Like, he's not.
Well, that's kind of the reason why they picked him, because they knew that he would do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew that he would take on the money. He wouldn't think anything about it, and he wouldn't think of the consequences until afterwards. And that's kind of what happens. Exactly.
And he has a brutal death of Ron Livingston. Goes into his house, hits him with the. So, all right. So he doesn't want to get caught. His rules are he wants to be physically stronger, have better weapons. He doesn't want a gun that can be traced back to him. So he walks to Ron Livingston's house with black gloves, black pants, all black outfit, and a helmet. Goes into his house, whacks him with Ron Livingston's statue, whacks him with a flower pot, and then drops a refrigerator on his head.
It's a hell of a way to go out. And Ron Livingston's not dead yet.
How about his hat?
And then that's what he says to his friend. He's like, you told me you didn't even like his hat. He's like, you killed the guy for a hat?
He had a silly gardening hat. I feel bad.
On the news, they're talking about Ron Livingston whenever he died, and they hit the picture that they use of him as him in the hat. He's like, what the? So, but I mean, he's still not dead. So Crowley leaves Livingston on the ground, like kind of supports his head, and I guess the air in his head eventually escapes or something, and that's what causes him to die, which is a terrible way to think to die. It's like, ugh.
It's darkly funny. Would you say, Kelly? Just the way that the escalating death? Yeah,
it is kind of I'm a little bit, it's funny, but it's also, like we said, it's very gritty. So it's like it almost looks like he really did kill him. If you didn't know any better, you would think like, my God, this man, I just watched a murder happen.
I saw him die in 2003. Why is he still acting?
Why is he in The Conjuring? He looks good. Must be drinking a lot of water.
I do have to say, I hate silly hats in movies. Julianne Moore, they put a bad hat on her in Next. There's been Kevin Bacon puts a bad hat on in Hollow Man.
I'm not a big fan on hats in general in movies. They're very distracting.
And cowboy hats work. I think cowboy hats are okay. I mean, fedoras, I'll give a pass to, depending on the person. But sometimes there's very ill-fitting ball caps that they just put on people's heads. And I don't like it. Like, why would you... Like, would you want to wear so you're Chris Kelly. You're a spy. Not a spy. You're a painter.